is the largest game show we've ever seen. We now understand how important VR is globally as well as the China market. Right? We did an analysis, and almost every booth was VR. VR and esports.
Okay, so what do you think of the Chinese game market, and how will you enter the Chinese game market?
So we love the Chinese game market. We want to enter it carefully. We are selecting partners, and we're looking for the best way to bring raw data to the market so that we can hit the most possible customers.
Do you think the Chinese people love games or VR games? And do you think the potential? How do you think the potential of the Chinese game player?
Yeah, we think there's massive potential. We spent a lot of time at the show, as well as going around to different arcades and meeting also with all of the hardware manufacturers. We think China is going to be one of the biggest markets in the world for VR.
Okay, you know that many Chinese game companies in our country. So, what do you think of the Chinese game companies? Do you think they are competitive?
I think the games are different, and I think different. We think that different countries sort of have different gaming norms, right? So, for instance, Europe. If you look at Europe, the continent, they do less IAP, right? But in the United States and China, it's a little more similar, and there's more IAP, there's more esports, and we see big markets for VR.
And this is Nathan, the CEO. We've seen a lot of very good businesses, game developers in China that have been focused more on mobile game development. And now we're seeing a bit of a shift where we think the Chinese game developers will need to focus more on AAA video games and virtual reality and PC video games. So that's a shift that we should see over the next 5 years. And right now, a lot of the really good content comes over from the United States and Europe, because that's where a lot of the PC development has been so far. So we're going to see, I think, a shift in development in China from mobile to virtual reality over the next 5 years.
Okay, I get it. And then the next question. Will the Chinese edition of the raw data more cheaper than it? Because the current price of the raw data in Steam is over $30, which is a little expensive to Chinese game player.
Yeah, so when we evaluate taking a game into a territory, we evaluate everything from price to localization to content to country-specific content. So we've got a team evaluating what's the best way to bring the product there with the best price point for that territory.
Okay, so why do you think the raw data get such a good result on Steam VR?
Our development studio is one of the oldest and most advanced, most experienced VR development studios in the world. We've been working on virtual reality games for 4 years, and we've built up a large amount of research knowledge into how to make virtual humans, AI characters, and then also we have people with who are from had many years in the video game industry, so you have a high level of polish and quality. Our virtual worlds feel very real,
as well as movie talent. We bring a lot of movie talent in too.
Right, and another thing too is we bring our passion for this game. This game is very much part of our soul, I guess you could say, has been poured into raw data. It's very much a project we're passionate about. It's something that's inspired by all of our favorite movies, action and science fiction movies of the 80s and 90s and 2000s. So our team is very dedicated to making something that they find be very high quality, and I think the market respects the work that we've put into it.
And one other thing is, our company is set up to be the Pixar, like Disney Pixar of virtual reality. So we put more money and time and people onto VR projects than anybody else. And all we do is make premium VR. We don't focus on mobile. We focus on making the best experience for that box.
And when we first started Raw Data, we didn't ask ourselves what's a good tech demo or what's a tiny, small game we could make. We said, what is the real full game that we could make with full features, multiplayer, all the things you expect from a real high-quality title. We started it very much as a high-quality title.
Sure, thank you, and congratulations. But sorry, can you speak more slowly because I can't catch you sometimes.
Well, I'm thinking after the interview, if you could send us the questions in email, we can also follow up with more long-form responses as well.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, from you perspective, what is the most important thing in VR game?
That's an interesting question. Most important thing in VR games, I think, well, in general, producing high-quality products, not small tech demos, something that is a real product with real production value is the most important thing for the industry to move forward. The industry cannot move forward with only very small, inexpensive titles.
Okay. And can you develop excellent... what's your principle in VR game developing?
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
What's your principle in VR game developing?
Fundamental principles.
Yeah.
Well, there's I would say the most important principle to us is that we empower the user. We give the user abilities that they do not have to basically fool the user. This is how we create magic. So our fundamental principle is very much like Seth said with Pixar, is that we are able to make people feel magic inside of virtual reality. And that's by actually making systems that fool them into thinking they're in a new virtual world, fighting robots and an evil corporation. That's all, we build everything to make someone believe that they're actually somewhere else. And we follow that principle very, very tightly.
We also have proprietary tools and technology. So like certain physics systems. So our games just have certain elements that other games just can't have because we don't let any of that technology out of house.
Okay, I got it. So would you please introduce the holodeck project to us?
Sure. So Project Holodeck was a research project at the University of Southern California. It started about 4 years ago and completed about 3 years ago. And Project Holodeck was kind of the what came before Survios. So it was a research project started by myself and then James Iliff, our Chief Creative Officer, where we worked alongside Palmer Luckey, who ended up becoming the founder of Oculus. This is before he founded Oculus. This was at USC. And we started a project to basically take off-the-shelf hardware pieces to build what's similar today to an HTC Vive, but to build it as a prototype so that we could actually make games. So we basically wanted to make virtual reality games where you're standing up, you're moving around, you're interacting with things before the hardware was even available. And this is part of the reason why we're so successful today is we're ahead of the curve. We have a jump start on everyone. And so Project Holodeck concluded in May of 2013, and that's where we built out 2 games, Wild Skies, which is like an airship flying game, and Zombies on the Holodeck, which was a kind of a zombie game. And then we took the technology that we had from those, and we founded Survios, and we started building the core technology that you see today inside of Raw Data. So Project Holodeck was basically the beginning kind of seed of what turned into Raw Data.
Okay, and what's the relationship between the holodeck and your game developing?
So the same, while we were developing, some of the hardware, at the same time we were building up a games team that is fundamentally built into research originally. So our lead software engineer, Alex Silkin, is our co-founder. he has a background in robotics. So we had that robotics influence allowed us to build the software necessary to start making very good interactive systems inside of virtual reality.
Okay, will you produce hardware based on the holodeck?
No, we're not producing hardware. We're a software company. The hardware that we produced was so that we could develop software ourselves.
By understanding what next generation hardware looks like, we have an unfair advantage to anybody trying to make games because we understand all of the systems like tracking better than others, so we can make better games for people.
Okay, and there is a conception called Active VR in your website, and what is Active VR?
Well, it's a really simple concept. It basically means you need to move your body. Once your body's moving, you're standing up, you're walking around, you're swinging a sword, or dodging. That basically allows you to fool the human brain more into thinking that it's actually in a new world. So it's how you build. It makes you feel the magic that much more in virtual reality when you actually are moving around, because that's how you engage. If you engage the body, then you kind of engage the spirit.
Do you think the active VR is important in VR games?
We think it's very important. We think it's we really consider active VR to be the most important form of virtual reality.
Okay, and what's your opinion of the three? The big three handset, HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, and PSVR. What's your opinion on these three handset?
We think all three are very high quality products. We think the Vive is the earliest product that has come out with very good support with Steam, very good software ecosystem, and so that's why we chose to come out with HTC Vive first. But we do believe that they're all, three very high quality companies building high quality products that will have the ability to enable active VR, and so we're excited to work with all of them.
Yeah, we're going to make for everybody.
Okay, will you launch an edition for the other two platforms?
We have plans to launch on other platforms. We can't say specifically at this time, but we do have plans.
Okay. Are you planning to make raw data suppose mobile VR platform like Gear VR?
Say it one more time.
Do you have a plan to make raw data support mobile VR platform?
Yeah. So we're evaluating everything right now. And in terms of mobile, we want raw data to go to as many people as possible, but we have to know that we can make the best experience for our fans.
Right. So we like to choose the active VR platforms, and so if the platform lets the user get up and move around and really feel like they're in the world, then raw data will be there for that platform.
Okay. So what's the reason do you want to enter the VR game area?
Because we want to go to new worlds.
Okay.
We do this because we're very passionate about this. We have been dreaming about this since we were kids.
Okay, it's a very brief answer. And what do you think of the future of the VR technology? Do you think it's just in game area or some other area?
So we actually have an interesting approach to this. We believe that games are very, very important, and that it's not that virtual reality, it will be useful in other areas like medical and teaching, school, all those areas, but actually games are going to become more important in those areas over time, especially with learning. If you want to learn how to do surgery or learn how to learn something in school, games are actually going to be the way to teach new people in the future. So we are investing in games as a new form of communication, and that is our fundamental belief.
Do you think the VR game will take place of the traditional video games?
No, I think there will always be a place for traditional video games. VR will just be a more powerful and expressive medium, but traditional games are here to stay.
There's room for both. Television didn't replace movies.
Okay. So, do you have some experience in
game developing?
what?
Okay. Game developing.
Oh, okay. And do you have some experience in game developing before the raw data?
So I went myself personally, and Seth can speak for himself, but I went to USC for the game development program there as a master's student. I actually published a book on iPhone game development, the Cocos 2D cookbook. That was about 5 years ago now. So I've been in game development for a little while, academically and with books. And then Seth has a long history. I don't know if you know, but
I started making games in 1995 for Sega. And from Sega, I was at Activision. I made Asteroids. I was on the Dark Reign team. I was on Pitfall. I started the Marvel stuff. I went from there to Universal Studios. I did the 4th iteration of Crash Bandicoot. I've got and our game. I mean, more important than that, our game team has really, really deep background in games.
So the way our studio works is we take the core team, which is young students who know about the new ways to make virtual reality content, and then we add very extremely solid veteran programmers, artists, business people, designers from the video game space. So our Seth has a tremendous background in video games. Our head of studio, Chris Hewish, was he ran DreamWorks Interactive for 6 years. We have people from Riot Games, all sorts of companies.
Activision,
CCP,
Electronic Arts,
so
CCP.
We hire the best people in the industry,
Insomniac,
to add them to our team, and we combine those people with the young researchers, and that's how we're able to have tremendous talent.
Okay, sound experienced and strong. I think that's all our questions, and our preparation may be some efficient, and I will send you our questions afterward. And could you tell me some detail in the question and send me back?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yes. Just send me any questions you have, and we'll jump on it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sis and Nathan.
Okay, I appreciate it. All right, have a good day.
Okay, and we look forward to see you in China again.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So bye bye. 啊，真渣！我这个口语
好好练去。
啊，
好好练去。
好好练。